All right. Anybody got a question? I tried to answer everybody's questions. Yes, sir.
20 years ago, I read a book, I think it was written by Mohrle on P-47. He said one of the problems was flying in England is all the weather. So we must have flown a lot of IFR.
We didn't have IFR. Yeah, England is notoriously bad weather. Now, we had an artificial horizon, gyro horizon in the thing that never worked. You're flying along and somebody shoots at you and you turn violently and spill it and it's ruined. We also had a gyro compass in it. That never worked either. I just used it to count. I shot one train, one box car, and then two box cars. That's all it was good for. So what we did, we flew instruments on needle, ball, and airspeed. Now you got a squadron of 12 P-47s going through an overcast. The leader flies instruments. Everybody else tucks in close to him. And then when we entered the clouds, each guy turned about 3 or 4 degrees out. So we were separating from each other going through the clouds. There were collisions where people were killed, but never happened in our group. We never had a problem with it. Actually, the airplane was pretty much a CAVU airplane. We could fly instruments if we were forced to. The only time that I ever did it where I was rather proud of myself, with the French underground, the resistance had reported a troop train, a German train traveling north of Paris, and they informed us of the thing, and we were assigned to go get it. Well, I sat down and figured out about the speed that thing ought to be traveling. We knew where it was when they reported it, and then I figured the amount of time that it would take me to intercept that thing out there on the rail somewhere, and took off, and there was a low overcast, and I got up through that and was flying, and just time, compass heading and time. I called my guys and told them, okay, turn your gun sights on, turn your guns on, and started down through the clouds and came out the bottom, and that train was right there. All I had to do was start shooting. And I told those guys I'd do that all the time. I lied about other things too. I want to tell you about my flight leader. Am I using up too much time?
No.
My flight leader was a guy named Mohrle, the best pilot I ever flew with. He organized the first Air Force aerobatic team flying P-47s in Florida, that type of flying. When we first got to England, the British guys came over and were razzing us about our great big airplane. They'd look underneath it for the bomb bays and all that stuff. So Mohrle got his flight, two other guys and me. Ostensibly, we were going up for a training mission, and he got us up over this Typhoon base. These are the guys that were razzing us. It was about 20 miles north of us. And he got us in formation and then just kept motioning in tighter and tighter and tighter till our wings were overlapped. And he dived down there at the Typhoon base and pulled the formation up and rolled us right over their runway. He was so smooth, we didn't know what we were doing. He just held position and he was perfect. We found out later that we caused quite a stir. Mohrle was shot down over in South Carolina. Not shot down, he crashed. Flying a P-39, and he had a rookie pilot on his wing, and they're just entering the traffic pattern, and a formation of Corsairs came right through the pattern. Well, this guy on his wing is a rookie. It startled him, and he turned, and his prop cut the tail off of Mohrle's plane. He was killed. Mohrle bailed out. Now, we're at 700 feet. By this time, he's probably 500. You don't bail out that low. He opened his parachute, or pulled his ring, and we saw the parachute candlestick and go down in the trees. We went over there expecting to find him buried in the bottom of a hole, and a big oak tree had caught the top of his parachute and left him swinging about 6 feet above the ground, complaining about getting me down from here. Okay, when we got overseas, we were strafing a train, and Mohrle just went over the train, and he must have had an anti-aircraft shell blow up right in a gas tank, because he was just a ball of fire. He's doing about 400 miles an hour over the top of the train, at maybe 100 feet. You don't bail out there. He jettisoned the canopy, pulled the stick back, and the airplane went up like that. He undid his seatbelt and kicked the stick. The airplane went down and left him going up. And he popped his parachute and it opened underneath him like that. He made one swing and hit the ground running. You talk about a lucky man, and he complained, he's still complaining that he never got to float down under a nice parasol. When he landed, he got captured. And the Germans take him to prison, Stalag in Germany. Somebody on the train had a pocket knife, and Arlie carved a hole in the side of that wooden boxcar and jumped out and survived that and joined the French resistance. So he went around doing sabotage. Then he got captured again. So this time they're going to kill him, and they had him locked up. A French girl, 18-year-old girl, found out about him, and she somehow got that prison plate where he was. She got into it, got him out of there, put him on the handlebars of her bike, and rode him back through the front lines to us. Now, you talk about courage. All right, this has been about 15 years ago. We had a squadron reunion at Palm Springs, California. Arlie has been trying to find these people. They were trying to find him. That girl had married. She had a daughter who married. So her son-in-law got interested in the stuff that he had left behind, his wings and all that, tried to find him and couldn't. The War Department couldn't help. So Arlie ran an ad in a French newspaper, and somebody that knew those people saw the ad and told them about it, and they got in touch with him. That woman, her daughter, her son-in-law, two of the freedom fighters he had fought with and their wives attended our squadron reunion in Palm Springs. You talk about a tearful reunion. Now, Jan Rivlin is the son-in-law's name. I said, Jan, why is it that the French don't like the Americans? He said, you don't understand. The French love the Americans. You're talking about French politicians who are as sorry as yours are, or you're talking about Parisians, and they don't like anybody, including other Frenchmen. You get into the countryside of France or up around Normandy, you'll find that's true. They can't do enough for you because we're Americans. Now, my last little story, there was a picture right there at the front of the schematic of the P-47. That one. There. You can see the way that airplane is built. It is pretty solid. Most airplanes have a main spar in the wing. That had two. One just back of the machine guns and one just the back side of the ammunition rack. So you couldn't hurt that airplane in the air. I dived 3 of them through compressibility dives. That's 670 miles an hour, straight down, and about a 5G pullout. Didn't bother the plane in the least. That'll take the wings off of a Mustang. Look at the way that thing is built.